I was listening to my guys Tony and Chandler's podcast, The Arrow, and particularly their bonus episode looking at the trauma that Korra went through throughout the whole of Legend of Korra. But their conversation about Book 2 really got me thinking, and looking back on my episode on PTSD and Korra made me realise that there was something about Book 2 Korra that was actually a lot deeper than I initially realised. And that was the fact that Korra's attitude throughout the whole of Book 2 really is just her going through the denial of the trauma that she has gone through. Now, this is something that is always talked about in the Legend of Korra fans, and just is basically a reality for Avatar Korra. She was sheltered through pretty much all of her life. She's found to be the Avatar at age, 4 or 5, and leaves the encampment they put her in at age 16, nearly 17, making it that she has been sheltered for nearly 11 years. She's experienced no other form of life outside of those walls. She interacts with her family, she interacts with her teachers, she's given different tests and continued to beat them. Even if she lost the first time, she would continue to go again and again until her brute strength and gifted nature worked to her advantage and she succeeded, because that's what she was taught. She was taught that she is a hero. She is the all-powerful Avatar. There is nothing she shouldn't be able to do. She just has to keep going because that is her role in the world. She is taught that she cannot fail because the Avatar is someone who should never fail. And yet when she arrives in Republic City, she is confused as hell. The world is not what she was made to believe. It's, as Tony and Chandler discussed in the episode, her going through Plato's cave theory of living in a world where you see everything within this cave. You see maybe the shadows of the trees on the wall, and that's what you think trees look like. But when you go out into the real world and you see what life is really like, would you really want to stay there, or would you want to go back to your reality? Now keep that in mind because we're going to get back to that. When she's in Republic City, she's learning things that she was never taught. She's realising that she is not as good as she thought she was and that she has been told she was. When she meets Amon and Tarlok and politics and real life, she fails again and again. She experiences true fear for the first time in her life. She's never experienced fear. She doesn't really have the emotions and the emotional growth that she should have had at that age because she's never experienced the world. And so when she loses to her mom, when she loses her bending, when it's proved to her that people in authority can't be trusted, even though everyone who was an authority figure to her growing up was someone she could trust. When she gains her abilities back and she succeeds in that aspect after hitting her lowest point, we then move into Book 2, and this is where the denial sets in. She has been mentally, emotionally and physically destroyed. The world that as she knew it doesn't exist anymore. The world that she was told, the person that she was told she is gone. She has failed, she has lost, she isn't this all-powerful figure that she's being made to believe that she is and should be. It's like the gifted child complex. The moment that a gifted child continues to forcing themselves to reach that high expectation and misses it just by a small margin, their worldview disappears. Everything breaks. And that's what we see with Korra. And so, in defense of this, to go back to the world that she once knew, she forces herself to ignore everything that she went through. We see her talking about her beating Amon, her successes in Book 1. Even though there weren't really that many successes, she talks about her power. She uses her power, probably out of the fear that I'd lost these, but now I've got them, so I'm going to use them as much as possible. She becomes cocky. She goes back to her overconfident, pain in the ass really, behaviours, because that is what is comfortable to her. That is what she always had been, and that behaviour was never corrected before because there was no reason for it to be, because she lived in a world where she was the centre of the universe. She was powerful, she was strong, but she's not that anymore, not that she wants to admit it. She's been shown the horrors of the world and survived, but as per Plato's cave theory, she's seen what the world is really like, and she doesn't want that existence. She wants the one that she knows before, the world where she was all powerful, the one where there was nothing she couldn't do, nothing and nobody she couldn't beat. So she reverts back, and she stays with that as much as possible. She goes back to the world where, to her, people in powerful positions were people you could trust. Family was everything. And so when she is betrayed in her eyes by Tenzin and her father, revealing that she didn't even need to be in that encampment for her whole life, she falls into the bad habit of trusting another family member, because family was all she could trust until it wasn't. So she moves to another member of her family, believing that they are the person who now only has her best interest in heart, because they treat her in a way that she really wants to be treated, like she is all powerful, like she deserves to have this power. Something that she once lost and now feels is being constrained. And that is just reminding her of what happened in her past with Amon. So she relies on Unalaq, when in reality she probably knows she shouldn't. And eventually she realises she definitely shouldn't have. And the sad fact is, she is afraid to trust, because again and again the world has shown to her that trust means nothing. Even the person you can trust most in the world can and probably will betray you. And so she goes with a poor instinct. She sides with her uncle until too late she realises she shouldn't have. But she does it out of fear and denial of what she went through, and the fear of going through it again. And in doing so, she learns the hard way that in most cases you can't even trust yourself, because your mind can play the biggest tricks on you. And the worst part is, your mind can make you not even realise it's happening, because you are in denial of what has happened. But what do you guys think? Do you think it is possible that Korra's behaviour in book 2 was actually brought on by denial and the ignoring of the trauma that she went through in book 1 against Amon and everything that happened? Or do you think I'm just kind of talking a little bit nonsense? Whatever the case, let me know in the comment section down below. Now, I do want to thank the fantastic Tony and Chandler from the Arrow Pod. I've been on their show a couple of times, absolutely love it, love them. You guys are amazing, and thank you for inspiring me to make this video. It was a lot of fun, and I enjoy talking about these things to do with Korra and her character. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it. In the description box you'll find the links to the Arrow Pod, to all of my social media, my merchandise store, and my Patreon. Can't support me on Patreon? Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, leave a thumbs up, a comment, and because the algorithm is still kicking me in the butt, please share this video if you enjoyed it. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Whew.